It's Friday and it's leg day and I'm out on my walk. It's silent here with the ocean and soon I'm gonna go into the forest. I do this every day. It's like 2.5 hours and it's the best to just be in nature and kind of reduce my thoughts after I have talked to you guys. Form checks and the 50 list of lifts and me coaching on it. I want you to know that I'm one of those people who have changed and evolved from being a typical gym rat to apply my mindset onto my body, how I train. So I don't train the way I did when I was younger. And I'm grateful that all my different typical injuries and hamstring surgeries and shoulder tears, all that had me to accept. I had to accept that I'm gonna have to try and train another way, or I'm not gonna have a body to build muscle. So one's bodybuilding life is limited, as in you can't do exactly what you wanted. You were not as recuperatable as when you're young. It's easy to kind of fall for this of, it's not as fun anymore because everything is in pains. I get tired, can't lift as much as I wanted. In my work as coach and trainer then, I noticed how much of this holding on to yourself and the younger fitness self-life person you were or think you were, and you compare everything you do to that, like that was better than now. And it makes sense if you were on your prime Olympic medalist and you want to keep achieving your goals and beat your personal best. But if you're like me, a typical fitness lifestyler who has the intention to stay in shape and build as a lifestyle, build muscle, burn fat, stay lean, healthy, take care of my body, that's the practice. That the whole thing for me is the daily to do. There is no end goal. There is no one day I'm gonna be built up and then I'm just gonna maintain it. What am I gonna do then? Sit and wait until I die? The first time I decided and committed to bodybuilding at 17, I had a goal that I'm gonna compete in 3 years from now, and I have 3 years to build my body strong and then lean out for a show. And it was all I was gonna do. I was gonna give it 3 years and not allow myself to complain that it was hard, not complain that it was gonna take all I got. That was so important for me. And I never let myself down. Fast forward now I'm 43 and I've been training for 26 years non-stop. I've had my ups and downs. And I want you to know that the biggest challenge with my work is to have you, my clients, to understand that I'm not judging you to think you are inferior or not strong enough, or I should, kind of bash you or criticize you. I just treat you like an equal. Because the way I am conditioning and keeping myself in check is how I also coach you. But there's so much of insecurities and this sense of I was my best when I was younger, which I completely disagree with, simply because I don't feel that way myself. The delicacy I have to have with kind of gloves, soft gloves, in order to coach a client in technical lifts, how to get better range of motion, why it matters. It's so hard for clients to listen because you take it as criticism, not feedback, to get you to be better for yourself. Now here's the thing. If you want to achieve goals you've never achieved, it makes sense to do what you've never done. If you want to evolve and build a body you've never had or get lean the way you've never been, it makes sense to have a coach or a guide who actually has walked the talk or has achieved what you want to achieve. Because otherwise, who are you listening to? An AI voice who tell you to be mindful when you have cravings, think about your goals? BS, you're not going to think about your goals. You're going to have the typical rebellion and say, screw it, I'm going to start over Monday. The reasons why then it's hard and kind of not interesting to work on your form is there's a lot of this ego culture that everyone goes to the gym and want to be a star. And you're going to be there in a community where everyone holds on to their best self idea or concept. And if it's threatened or challenged, let's say someone tells you that you haven't even reached a parallel in your squat, or that you're having crappy form, that you're breaking your back during deadlifts, that you're doing cheat style pull-ups, all that. Most of the people in the gym will kind of take a crowd perspective, and everyone holds on to this. It's okay to do it because we all do it. That everyone wants to have an idea, an image inside our mind, that collectively, gym rat culture, we just hold on to that. So everyone trains with improper form, kind of keeps on getting injured over and over. That's the way of life in gyms. Now, if you're trying to kind of get better at yourself and start to kind of think, how can I actually stop injure myself at the same place over and over? How can I get past my current max lift and so on to keep on evolving? What does it take? Well, for instance, you will have to drop the weight and start working your form from nothing again. You have muscle memory, which is going to be kind of tough because you also have the way you move as memories, and you have learned and trained your form. So poor execution of moves will keep on haunting you. You might be able to show it without weight, but when it comes to real work weight, you are going to go into your sloppy form because your body will take the easiest way to lift the load. Now think about that. That if you care more about your strength on a paper than how you do the form, you know you're training for your ego, you're going to limit yourself on muscle growth and gains. Typically, clients or people get offended and defensive, don't want to have a coach because you know everything, because you've trained for 20, 30, 40 years. You have nothing to improve. Which is then interesting that you're still stuck at the same goal, not making any change. You're maintaining because you don't think you can gain or evolve. So the limitation in mind sets the limitation in your body. You're not willing to think outside the box. You're not willing to relearn or to train in ways that you've never done because you always quit at the same place or you have your favorite programs. Favorite workouts is like the least effective workout. If you have the same thing you do, you always put the same lifts first. Because if you change the order, now you notice that you get demotivated seeing that you can't lift as much weight as if you have it first. Priorities here. So when it comes to muscle and bodybuilding, it's always about making it as hard as you can for your body and then progress. It's not trying to cheat away and get away from the intensity or the effort or the struggle for the body. So there's a little bit of discrepancy, or however you say that word. That are you really interested in gaining and changing and improve your body composition? Or do you want to hold on to your concept, your dogma about how you train because you identify yourself as how you train? I got a problem with that because you or I should just talk for myself, otherwise you get mad. You will anyway. I don't identify myself as what kind of diet I use or adhere to. You will never see me say I'm fighter diet, or I'm paleo, or I'm carnivore, or I'm intermittent fasting. Like that is a part of who I am. When you ask me who am I don't even know how to answer that. I'm Pauline right now, like this is my life, but I don't hold on to kind of titles and things, descriptions or roles. That's not me. That's what I do in this life. So the easy question you might think, who am I? Who am I? Yeah, who am I not, right? So that's a whole other philosophical question, but it kind of hits you when it talks about how you relate to yourself as what you do for a lifestyle. So I don't treat my diet or my nutrition or my training like a religion, because religion has rules that are put upon me, and I don't follow or obey any rules. I make my own guidelines, and I also know that if I have rules, they better be real justifiable, because otherwise I will override them and bend them and too much. So for me in my life, it's important to know and be intelligent and always make sure that I benefit from whatever elimination or restriction I do in anything in my life. diet, training, people, source of information, energies. Back to training now. I want you to know the way I coach myself so you can kind of get over this of having a hiccup, resistance to relearn. I've had pretty much all the injuries you can imagine, and arthritis, pains and all that stuff, so it's not that I have a body that is built for war. But ever since my after 40, when I decided, I got that epiphany that if I'm gonna have a real way to gain muscle, I have to let go of my calorie system of justifying refeeds and be conscious ignorant. And I have to allow to train from nothing again and build it up, to stop doing what I want to be doing, what I'm comfortable with doing, and really use my smarts and my brain to think, how can I stimulate without annihilating? How can I keep on growing and build muscle and not relying on having max strength as a limiting factor? How can I override my soft spots and keep on? How can I evolve my training to be really clever, strategic? That was the start of my after 40 bodybuilding life. In that process, I realizing that if I really work on all my range of motion and execution of all my lifts, I'm not only gonna reduce the risk of re-injury, I'm also gonna be able to challenge my body harder, more focused than ever. Instead of getting kind of sore all over, I'm gonna have it in the places where I put the intention, the focus on. Then I'm realizing that if I can get deeper in range of squats, if I can do an even better longer set with shoulder press, if I can stop cheating on pull-ups and make it as hard as I can, I'm gonna have more muscle focus again. Same thing there. So for me, in the past, my squat form that everyone praised for, because it was a gym rat culture, was I didn't care about ankle mobility. Wasn't my thing, right? When I couldn't keep my form on the squat, it kind of start to flex in the bottom or lose my erectness. Guess what I did? I just took a wider stance. Instead of working my mobility, my adductors, my ankles, my calves, my groin, my torso, my weakness in my glutes, because I didn't train the way you train glutes smart. I trained glutes just with heavy and hard. I escaped all the real good work that builds up the small chains. Do you think I thought I did that? No. Because my ego was so big that I picked and selected what I thought was, this is good. So I was always known to have excellent training, excellent execution, being so disciplined and strong and really good. Now in hindsight, what kind of perception was that? I was filled with a lot of errors and didn't want to call myself out and had that ego up my butt. And so my squats, my heaviest squat, 235, was pretty much not even to parallel. And for my work weight, 175, it was pretty much to parallel and very low reps. Never did I go over 10 reps pretty much, because I felt that was too sissy. Yeah, everyone knows that high rep leg work volume is a killer. I missed out on so much gain in muscle development because I trained my ego and I only wanted to train heavy and hard. Not even exhaust my muscles, just exhaust my typical lower back and almost getting injured in my knees because of the strength and the total load. I know the absolute load. And when it came to glutes, for having had such a butt obsession for myself, it's funny how little I targeted it at all. I never really had any glutes because I was not isolating it the way. I was not building any glutes. I kind of escaped all the work to directly hit glutes, which is so funny because here I was always talking about the glutes, right? Yeah, so I missed out a lot of that too. Range of motion on my chest presses, definitely the same thing there. Never got really deep into the press because if I stop right where everyone else does, be above the chest line, then I could handle a lot more. It's a short range of motion there too. Same thing with back. I could row the 130 dumbbell, no problem, but man, was it short range and using my body like a leverage, and everyone was impressed. Again, embarrassing to think about it now. I was doing pull-ups with 90 pounds between my legs at some point, negative 75 pounds for 6 reps. Sounds impressive, but you should have seen the form. It was pulling myself, no matter what style, over the bar. And I had better form than most people. And here's the funny thing. Anytime someone criticized me for the form online, I got furiated and pissed because I felt violated. They were right. I did train my ego. And I justified it because I felt, well, I'm getting results, so I have the muscles. Yeah, but imagine, Pauline, if you could train smarter and wiser. I was always in pain and having golfer's elbow because I didn't have the balance in my forearms. Shoulder presses, yeah, ooh, those funny. I had an incline bench just like everyone else. I was swinging up the weight, doing short range of motion on top, having an incline, turning it into a chest press, not even spending that much time at all on shoulders. No wonder I have a lot of more muscle size in my shoulders now. Abs, I had a little thing about that. I didn't care about training abs really, and because it was boring. But I always wanted them lean, right? Yeah. Dips, 90 pounds, no problem doing those. Could have gone a lot more deeper. Deadlifts, my best 265 with great form. But beyond that, no. And then I didn't even care about warming up. So I just kind of dry effed it. Doing 20 reps of 140. My body was in pain. And then after that set of that, well, it softened up because you get numbed by the endorphins. I didn't care about Nordic curls because they were too tough. So I just gave up on it. I never made it to do a real Nordic curl. It's still on my list now. I love the unilateral Romanian deadlifts. I was using 80 pounds dumbbell and do great range of motion with these. But it was my favorite move, right? I didn't train hamstrings properly at all. They were always tiny, and that's funny too, because I always had an addiction to train hamstrings, but very inefficiently. And when it came to back, it was more about getting the weight to move. I was just lucky to have a back that kind of took up the stimulation anyway. And for most of the years, I could get away with it. It doesn't matter for your muscles if you have strict form or not when it comes to overload. But if you tear a tendon or a muscle, now you can't really sit there with cheating is fine. Cheating with momentum just makes it more inefficient. I also, quads. I didn't want to have big quads, stupid me then. I didn't like to have big quads, I wanted to have big hamstrings. I had all these kind of weird body ideals. I wanted to have straighter glutes. I got that. But somehow I forgot to train my glutes. My point is, nowadays, you hear me talk about myself, right? You hear that I'm laughing with joy and love. I don't hate myself at all. I love myself. I love that I can talk to you about myself and call myself out. Like, look, think here. This is how I reason. It was ridiculous. I was younger. It's an evolution. It's normal life experience. But with time and practice and self-awareness and expanding, I should be able to talk about myself in these terms without feeling defensive or feeling that how I'm being criticized. I am criticizing myself because I had something to be criticized for. Plus, I want to evolve. I want to build muscle. I don't want to hold on to an outdated life where I feel I can't do it because I'm only going to do it on my terms. So there's so much lost in evolution and development because of the ego, that you can't accept that you, just like me, can benefit tremendously from criticizing your own form, your execution. Always be open for new ways to learn instead of holding on to a concept, an idea, a program that you have committed to. that when you stop needing to keep up what you have told yourself to hold on to belief-wise, when you stop thinking like a religion, that even when you get challenged, you're going to hold on to like a negative confirmation bias. It doesn't matter that you're proven wrong or that you actually look on camera. You are doing poor form, you know it, but you can't handle it, so you rather just not get filmed. You'd rather not have a coach, even though you're struggling or suffering or impatient because you're not getting anywhere. So I have gotten rid of all that. That was growth. That I don't want to have something I feel I have to defend. I don't want to have so much attachment to my idea of how what I'm about, or what my image is, or my identity, because I'm not tied into that. So that is the difference. But you gotta know that if you have a problem with getting coached to evolve and progress and succeed, to achieve your goals, to get better, greater, not because you're gonna be a better person, because you got goals, just like me. I'm not gonna be a better, relatively speaking, person because I work hard on my form. I don't do it because I need punishment. I need to do it because I want to. So when you can distance yourself from your goals and your idea, your self-concept, when you can kind of observe yourself like, yeah, I can definitely improve on that. And you don't have something that makes you feel terrified that you're not going to be all that. You're not going to be fantastic. When you can stop seeing it as a great thing to be the same you've always been, or to hold on to the same premise or the same slogan that you've had all your life, when you can see that everything has a chapter and there's a closing word and then you move on, when you stop judging yourself for what you've done in the past and see that was growth lessons and stimulus, then you come to another kind of mentality, a state of being and happy the way I am, because I am grateful that I was so ignorant. It's my gain now that there's so much I can improve on due to all these previous restrictions and limitations. I challenge myself because I ask myself the proper right questions. It's essential self-inquiry. For me, I asked Pauline, so what do you want? Do you want to have a chance to build what you've never had? Yes, of course I want to. Well, then I have to do what I know I need to do or be open to without having some kind of ultimatum or conditions. I gotta give it all up and surrender to doing and doing what I'm terrified of. Training lighter, training in different ways, starting over, And all that has given me the most exciting fitness life and training than I've ever had before. That it's so much rewarding because I'm not holding on to defending my fitness honor. That for me, it doesn't matter if someone looks at my form in the gym, they're gonna judge me. That they can train heavier than me or I have more muscle, why do I train so light or whatever. Doesn't bother me at all, not at all. Because I'm not attached to the image of myself that I want to hold on to until I die. And you're not going to see me when I'm older, if I'm lucky to be alive, kind of pretend that I'm still doing ass to the grass if that's a goal. And I'm not going to hit even parallel. So, with all this, I hope you see that talking about myself and laughing at myself and wanting to see and get better is my way of growing. And I have nothing that I care about that you might come back and say, well, you said this when you were younger. You used to do this. Yeah. But if I keep on doing something because I've always done, that's not at all development. That's a closed mindset to hold on to what I have done or made for myself. I don't have any interest to stay the same. It's not a compliment when people say you're always the same. Unless they feel that it's about my principles of living, my heart in this, my honesty, then all the other stuff is just what people want me to be. And many times, people who praise my form, they just want to do it because they have the same shitty, crappy form that I do. So if they are criticizing me, then they're criticizing themselves, right? So yeah, being humble is the confidence in you. So for me, if you have me as a coach and trainer and I'm scrutinizing your form, you gotta come to my plate to my table and see that's because I do that for myself. And I am the most important trainer in my life for myself. I want to have the feedback so I can keep on improving and evolve.